So what is going on, everybody? This is Crypto Ed here with Andrew Wagner from Blockchain Gaming. Welcome, everybody. This is our first, I guess, Genesis session for Blockchain Gaming scholarship class. So welcome to all the scholars who are watching and everybody who's interested in participating in our scholar program. So so a bit more about the program. This course, we're going to be diving into different blockchain games. This week, we'll be going into HashKings. So you'll be watching Andrew, our presenter Andrew, who will be going over how the different steps of how to get started with the game, what are some aspects, how to and how to profit in this game, because we are seeing that in times like these, we are seeing people making money with games like Axie Infinity and other games out there. And I'm sure a lot of you want to get started, right? And especially those who miss out on the Axie Infinity train. Here's a chance to get in, right? This HashKings, this game has a lot of credibility. It's been around for a while, and yeah, I'm pretty excited to have Andrew teach us. So if you don't know about Andrew, Andrew is the founder of blockchaingaming.com. It's a website where it features a lot of information on different games out there, and there's a wiki page, a wiki section that talks about a lot of different games. So be sure to check it out when you have time. But without much ado, let's set Andrew to the stage.
All right, thanks, Ed. So first, I want to apologize for rescheduling this twice. There was a lot of emergencies happened in my local area. Basically, my apartment building caught fire, and I cannot live there for 2 years. So I'm currently, I don't know if anyone's ever looked closely at my background, but you'll notice it has changed because I'm at a friend's house in the basement. So there's some books and it's a little different, but everything's fine now. We're getting back on track, and I've done this presentation. I'm going to start teaching you all the ins and outs of HashKings. So first I'm going to switch to screen share. And I'm going to confirm it's working. Give me a thumbs up or something. Okay, all right. So it is working, and this is our first class. I've already shared these slides in Discord. I'll share them again if anyone missed that link. So, because I realize some people watching this later might want to have access to them to review if they weren't able to ask questions live, or just to study, your students. So first, I'm going to get into the economics of things. I know a lot of people want to hear strategies right away, how to win more, how to earn more. But to earn more, you have to know more. Knowledge is power. And any strategy you formulate will come from understanding the economics of the game you play. That is particularly true in HashKings, which is a deep strategy game. And in that regard, you're at a disadvantage if you don't know how its economy works. So the big thing, buds. You may have seen this. This appears to be one of their main logos. They have multiple tokens, each with their own kind of different image when they appear on exchanges, but this one's probably most familiar. And this is the buds token. All right, so HashKings is a game all about farming weed. And that's it on the sum of it, except that there's prices and supplies and demands that drive things up and down in a way that you will want to be able to try to predict, and game. And buds is one of the primary tokens, probably the most familiar right now. It is produced from harvesting your plants. So once you've planted a plant, watered it, and it's fully grown, harvest that plant, you get buds. And buds has a relatively finite supply, except that it's constantly being produced and constantly being destroyed. So it can fluctuate up and down, but I don't think there will ever be more than a certain amount. I mean, there's Obviously, whenever you harvest, more are made, and whenever you perform certain burning actions, more are lost. But I believe there's a hard cap. For now, I've found buds to be the most, what's the word, actively traded token. It has the most volume of the tokens they run. Um, and I guess that's because people keep producing it and people keep using it for things. So especially in the early game, you need it to roll joints. You might be like, what do I want a joint for? Well, you need joints to level up your avatar. And that has all kinds of benefits that, for example, you need a higher level avatar to upgrade water towers to a higher level. And in the future, there's going to be boss battle / raid functionalities, and that's, I think, a good idea because that's trying to capture some of Axie's play to earn market, I think, with that kind of gameplay style. I might be wrong, but I hope they try to, get more action involved. Some people like action. But obviously having a higher level avatar will benefit you in those scenarios. So you ultimately, since you need buds to roll joints, buds are a good way to progress through the game. And that makes sense, right? That's how you grow in this game. You progress through growing crops. And yeah, it's a good summary of buds. Another thing to note is that I burn a lot of buds. It's the best way to get MOTA. I'll talk about MOTA a bit on the next slide. But basically on the exchange, since this token has the most volume, it can be harder to buy other tokens sometimes unless you're willing to move the price like a lot. So I have been intentionally, and I'll talk about seeds more in later slides as well, but I've been trying intentionally to give more uses to buds. Because think about this, when you produce buds, and if you want to reinvest in the game, you got to convert those buds to other tokens. So I saw other people were selling seeds for Hive. They were selling buds for Hive, and no, seeds for Hive, yeah. And that would force them to sell their buds for Hive to get Hive to buy seeds with. And I wanted it to be that they wouldn't be forced to ever exit the game economy if they didn't want to. So I've been trying to make it that way by listing things for sale for buds. And I think it's been having a good impact, actually. So MOTA is the other token. And right now, MOTA probably feels way more inflationary than buds because 1,000 are minted per day. And in the beginning, the supply is not that big yet. 1,000 tokens is a relatively large fraction of the supply compared to what it will be a year from now, right? As the supply grows, 1,000 will eventually be a minuscule percentage of the total supply. But for now, it's larger. And over time, you'll see it start to, you know what I mean, curve to zero. We'll start to see, not as much as Bitcoin, which goes literally to zero and will stop minting at some point, but it will become less relevant. But for now, the way it works is that the supply on the market's not good. So I found the best way to get MOTA is by burning buds for it. Get buds, get MOTA. And there's a burn pool in the game. That's how new MOTA enter the game economy. 1,000 per day to people burning buds. Right now, so the other thing is you need MOTA to get seeds. And so you need specifically to be staking MOTA to get seeds. And this has an interesting impact. So I have a lot of MOTA, so I have a lot of seeds. But that means I'm staking all that MOTA. And if I'm staking it, I can't be putting up sell orders, can I? I can't be putting it on any dexes because it's stuck. It's staking. It's sitting there. And that means the effective supply that's liquid and trading on the market of MOTA is pretty small. especially because I've acquired so much of the MOTA and I'm just staking it all to get seeds. And so, yeah, and that's a huge factor in this game, right? If at some point competition for staking could increase or decrease, I could decide to start selling. For now, competition is relatively high for staking for MOTA. And that's partially because a lot of some functionalities that MOTA will have not yet been released. I believe it will soon be used for upgrading the water towers, for example, and more useful for in-game transaction than previous. So basically, they're trying to support it as kind of like the in-game currency of sorts. And I think maybe envision it as the main token, because everyone feels like there's which one goes on coin market cap. That's the main token. Although some do both. I've seen some like Splinterlands has more than one token on coin market cap now. But usually there's one that people focus on in their mind. I think it will become this one eventually, although it's not yet. And that's why I have a lot of them, obviously. I've been accumulating them. And because it'll become less inflationary over time, right? So it's what you want if you're a long-term investor. Okay, the seed water balance. Now we're starting to get into not just how it works, but how it interrelates a bit more. So you need not just seeds to plant a weed and start it growing from a seedling. You also have to water it. Not daily, it doesn't work that way. The way this works is that you have to water it at least once before harvest time. Give it all the water it needs. So basically, there's inputs and outputs here. There's the cost of a seed, there's the cost of water to water them, and then there's how much buds you'll get out. To profit, you need to pay less for the seeds and water than you get in buds. And that's your net profit. Makes sense, right? Eventually, there will be other factors related to land. I'll probably talk about land a bit in another slide. So other costs, right now, this is pretty much what's affecting the economy anyway. And they have to be in balance, right? Think about it. Since these two combine, seeds plus water, as your input costs, and those combined take out your profit, that means that if one of them is more expensive, that leaves less room for the other one to be expensive. Like, because if water is too expensive, for example, and this was the case previously, water was too expensive, people were unwilling to pay high prices for seeds because it wouldn't have been profitable, right? The price of seeds plus water had to be less than the buds produced. So it was driving down the price of seeds, all this expensive water. And that's the seesaw you see here. I made a little scale graphic in MS Paint. But right now, I've kind of reversed it. So here's what I did, you guys. I have been manipulating the market. I'm sorry. Now I'll tell you how I've been doing it and how it's been benefiting me. I thought about explaining some of these sooner, but I realized it wasn't in my best interest, and I have investors like Ed. Ed's one of them. He wouldn't want me like prematurely spilling my strategies. So I did not. But basically what I've been doing is I bought a bunch of water towers. And the reason I did this in the end of the day was because I produce more seeds far and away than anyone else. I have a lot of the seed supply. I kind of wanted seeds to be more expensive. So I strategically bought a bunch of buckets, the lowest value water tower. But since I'm level 90, I can upgrade them to their max level, which I did with 900 of them. I got 900 buckets, and it took a long time. I'll show you guys how I did that too, because otherwise you're going to have to press the button 900 times. And it takes a couple seconds to load between each click. You can't just sit there tapping. So you wouldn't have wanted to do that manually, but I did it, not manually. And I got a bunch of water and I dumped it on the market. And so I made water really cheap, and I wrote a Peak D post about it. I made it sound all apocalyptic, and I had a picture of a flooding cornfield and like stormy weather, and I called it the Great Flood. And I just dropped water on the market en masse. And so the price of seeds, think about what happened when I did that. More people started farming because more people could afford to water their plants. Plants got watered all over the world of HashKings, and thus seeds started getting consumed more quickly. And so the price of seeds went up. And now the balance is otherwise. Now seeds are way relatively more valuable than water. And it might stay that way for a bit longer until the player base increases. Right now, I'm preventing seed drops kind of intentionally because we're in a situation where, no, I don't want to talk too much about the imbalances yet, actually. But back to the water, I'm almost done, I think, dropping on the water market. What I wanted to do, so basically there was a water cartel. There was a group of people who were intentionally driving up the price of water. And I don't know what that says about people or the future of, I don't know, where there's things to be had. It's like what Nestle is going to be doing soon. I don't know. But I was able to break their monopoly actually, because, they were using, I don't know if they had a private group chat or whatever, but because I could upgrade buckets to max level and buy the buckets cheap, because it was way more effective to upgrade a bucket than myself than to straight up buy a higher level tower. So once I did that, you can see the price of all the towers are way low now, or were. I just kept dumping water on the market en masse until the water cartel gave up, which they did. And you can see they put all their buckets on the market at really, really cheap prices, and I bought them. Bam, now I'm an even bigger water baron, right? I scared them intentionally. I used psychological intimidation on the water cartel. And you can thank me later, farmers. But now I have about to have 1,400 max level water towers, so I can keep it depressed for a bit longer. That they're gonna have to sell more eventually. I mean, unless they watch this, I might be ruining it for you. But they have. If you look at the number, you can go to nftm.art. You can actually see the number of buckets on the market is over 300. They're desperately trying to keep the price up. And I decided to hold off for a bit, let you guys buy a couple. The land connection. So, oh, crud. There we go. So land is another huge factor in the game. So once acquired, land is free to use. And so for now, it's not a big factor in the profitability equation. Right now, it just seems like seeds plus water or right, is what your profit is taken from, or you know what I mean. Those are the factors. But soon, and although you will see, okay, you still see the price of land move, but it's largely psychological. So, because land isn't directly affecting your profit equation, how much the land costs in the game is really a function of PR, wow, how much it's hitting the public's imagination at the time. Compared to other things. On Hive Engine, when the price of Hive goes up or down, that can also cause people to change their minds because the prices are denominated in Hive on nftm.art. But in the future, and actually soon, because you can already see the button, it just doesn't click yet, the rent button or lend button. You can rent and you can lend land out, charge rent to people, and yeah, then they don't have to buy land. Then they can just farm and play to earn. And that's what I'm going to do for our scholars eventually. Actually, I'm going to set the rental cost to 0 for you students, and everyone else has to pay. I'm going to make them pay rent or evict them. And at that point, you're going to find that rent cost now factors into the profit equation, right? It will be average rent cost plus seed cost plus water requirement. Take that from your buds produced, and then you've got profit. So yeah, it's going to become not a 2-way, but a 3-way scale. I didn't know how to draw a picture of that, but I think you get the idea. These 3 input costs will be in balance with each other, unless you're losing the game and farming at a loss, which you should not be. You should always look at those numbers before you press the plant button or the harvest button. Ensure that you're doing it at a profit. And it's some math. Yeah, there is. I like math. I know not everyone likes math, but it's not so different from any kind of trading. You're noticing market inefficiencies, but I'll get to more to strategies in a bit. But basically, the way land works is some land is higher level because the buds, it produces more buds, the types of weed you can grow there, and it can farm faster, takes less time to grow. So people want more advanced land. I have like half of Jamaica, and yeah, because I guess it's less. I think it's largely a prestige factor, but there's also some laziness involved, and I'll explain that in a bit. Um, Now we can finally move on to some strategies. It's all about correcting imbalances, as I've been saying. You're going to see imbalances in the game, market inefficiencies that you need to correct. So, for example, you're going to find, I'll have 2 examples here. What you're going to see is that there's different ways to acquire these different tokens, right? MOTA can be acquired through burning buds or from buying it. Buds can be acquired through harvesting crops or from buying it. Seeds can be acquired from staking MOTA or from buying them. And if you look at the market and compare that, so you can actually go, and I'll show you this after the presentation maybe, because I don't want to keep switching tabs. But you can go and check the stats on how many people are burning buds at a given time. And since only 1,000 come out, it's shared proportionately. If you're burning half the buds being burnt that day, you get half the MOTA made that day. So if you look and see not many people are burning today, and the price of MOTA is kind of high, what should you do? Burn buds, right? And sell them if you don't want them, because you'll be getting them more cheaply than they are selling for on the market, if not enough people are burning that day. Now, for a while, I was burning en masse. We had another event called the Great Fire, where I just straight up burned as many tokens as possible on both Rising Star and HashKings. It was maniacal, and it was great. I don't know. I burned millions and millions of tokens, but I got other tokens in the process, and I adjusted the supply. I corrected the supply. At some point I went overboard though, because I was just having fun. It was the Great Fire. Look on Peak D, the Great Fire. I made a post about it. The pictures and nice apocalyptic language. But so at times it would have been cheaper to go on the exchange, actually. That's what I'm saying. It's up to you to see which is which. And check once a day, twice a day. Depends your time tolerance and how small of a profit margin you're willing to chase, really. These inefficiencies widen over time, but you don't know that someone else won't close that arbitrage gap before you will. Over time, the arbitrage gap grows, but if you wait, and that happened with water towers and some other land recently. People saw the price going down and they were waiting for it to hit some minimum, but it didn't because I decided to buy like 100 of them. So I closed the gap first, and that's something you gotta, right? Know who's watching. So if you're quick, you may as well just close it when you see it if you have time. I'm I'm relatively a whale in this game, so I won't close tiny gaps. You guys had to wait and let a particular gap get pretty wide before I decided to step in and close it, because otherwise it's not worth it for someone with a large enough fund. Another thing I might say, there's inefficiencies over time. Like, remember I said there's the balance between seeds and water. They're on a seesaw, pushing each other up and down. Right now, water is cheap. And because of that, water towers have been cheap, except for the fact I bought 500 this week. So if I hadn't bought 500 water towers this week, they would still be cheap. And there's still a lot of buckets on the market. So, but what I'm saying is that it's kind of artificial, right? I literally flooded the market with water. And so that's a thing I could do once effectively. As the number of players picks back up, you'll find that the more buds will be produced. So basically, in order for us to run out of water, there has to be more farming happen, right? Because plants are consuming the water. Lately, there's a lot of people not farming because, I'll explain that in another slide too, actually. First, I want to show you this. So we're talking about correcting market imbalances. What do you see here? You could see that the price of South America plots was the same as the price of Mexico plots. This is ridiculous because Mexico plots are objectively better than South America plots. They have a pretty good efficiency ratio. I'll talk about that later, but just from this, they're a higher tier, and that's all you need to know. It's a higher tier land and it was the same price. So I fixed it. I bought all of them, the Mexico plots at 8 Hive. And I gave you guys like a day or two to buy some. I warned you on Discord. And then I bought them all that I could at that price. And in general, we're seeing an imbalance where higher tier land should be more valuable, but it's more and more valuable than it should be. Everything from Africa to up starts to get overvalued. What I mean is, like, from Asia to Jamaica, you see the cost go by about half. From Jamaica to Africa, it's another like half. Africa to Afghanistan, it's like down a quarter. Down to Mexico, another like quarter, or maybe like an order of magnitude. And so you can see, and down to here, there's a huge jump. It's not even as it should be, the value differences between the tiers, because people have preferences, plain and simple. And preferences aren't rational. They're doing it because they enjoy it. And when you enjoy something, it probably costs money. That's how life works. They're willing to pay that market inefficiency. I'm not most of the time. I'll have to take advantage if it's too small. You should too, always be watching. So the thing is, there's a reason these lower tier plots are cheaper than they should be. And the reason is bulk transactions, not yet a thing. People are lazy. People don't want to press a button over and over again. Just to put things in perspective, one Asia plot is like 100 South America plots at least. I'm not saying the math right. I'm remembering off the top of my head, but it's enough that it's a lot of presses, man, when you get up there in the game. And people just don't want to, especially early. The game's UI has been improving. It would fail to respond more often in the beginning. So imagine you wanted to press 100 times, and 25% of the time it fails. And it takes a second or two to refresh. Not fun. But when bulk transactions comes out, you'll be able to select multiple plots at once and plant or water or harvest multiple plots at once. And this will decrease that laziness factor. My prediction is that it'll also be easier on your wallet. Bulk transactions, right? Just like in Bitcoin or Ethereum, you can benefit from a bulk transaction. So too can you in Hive. I mean, not at lower levels, you have to play a lot, especially because I'm giving you all free resource credits. I'm paying your transaction fees, actually. So it's for me. But it's good. It's smoother. It's actually just smoother, honestly, to do things in one transaction. So, I've been kind of buying more low-level land lately when I notice this. And I'll show you how I'm dealing with that, all the button clicks soon. Remember not to ignore joints. Like I told you, some of my strategies, like I bought buckets and upgraded them to max level instead of buying max level towers. I had to be high level. My avatar had to be very high level to accomplish that. That's why I did it, actually. I leveled my avatar all the way up for that reason. I haven't even been selling joints. For a whale like me, I don't know if it's worth my time. I think for you guys it is, though, honestly. So for some of you should be selling joints. Sometimes I feel that if it's a small opportunity, I don't want to take it. I want to leave some imbalances for you guys to find, because that's the fun of this game. So I haven't really been taking the ones with joints. I've been focusing on larger volume imbalances, but this can actually be a pretty good one, because I myself bought joints on the market in order to level up. I was one of your customers. And there will be other people like me in the world, people who want to buy their way to a higher level faster. So you should cater to them, right?
So how much are joints and HashKings?
Depends how strong they are, how potent. You start from pinners. They use cheeky slang for everything. There's pinners, regular joints, cross joints, where they make fancy art shapes with the joint. There's blunts, hemp wrapped joints and blunts, and twacks. I don't know if you're all stoners like me, but twacks is the word for it when they dip the joint in like honey oil or add other concentrates. Very potent. So that costs 10,000 buds to produce. And they're selling for more than that on the market. I guarantee you that if you check.
And so can you translate that to, let's say, to like US dollar terms?
Oh, let me see. Let me check. I'll go on Hive Engine. See what the price of buds is today. Today, the price of buds is around 0.001 Hive. So it's
1/10 of 1 penny.
let's see, what's that in dollars? It's around. No, that's in Hive, not in pennies. So Hive Engine converts to dollars for me. I'm going to go to Hive Engine. You can't see me doing this, but I'm just in calculator. It's not interesting, don't worry. So here in the calculator, it's around there. Yeah, that's, what is that? It's a penny. That's 40. Okay, I don't know how to say that number, but let's multiply by 10,000. Costs 42, almost 420. This is almost prescient, 420. It's all the jokes. I feel like I could make better. You guys see why it's
$42
funny
for
to
a
me.
joint.
I have, you'll get exactly $4.20 worth of buds. And that's actually, they didn't peg it that way. That just so happens to be the market rate right now. That's a complete coincidence that it's $4.20 is the cost in buds worth to roll this joint. And cool. I didn't know that myself. So you can check what they're selling for.
Looks like joints in this game are similar to like SLP and Axie Infinity. Like you use joints to level up and to carry out actions.
Yes, that's correct. I mean, some combination of that and buds. It's a two-step process, but yes, that is how it works. And you got to understand, in order for it to be a play to earn game, Rich people have to have a way to buy their way to the top. Otherwise, you can't play your way to the top at a profit. That's where the money comes from. In Axie Infinity, it's the same. Some rich guy was like, man, I don't want to wait. I'm just going to buy a bunch of those on the market. And that's what allows you guys to sell them for profit. It'll be the same here. So let me go back to my, oh geez, see if I can find it. Oh wait, you are seeing on my Hive engine screen, aren't you? Maybe?
Yeah,
No.
we're got it. We just
Right.
didn't see the calculator.
Oh, okay. So now I'm back at the slides. I'm gonna keep going. There'll be more question time at the end, but good farming takes time. You ever heard the story of the tortoise and the hare? It's a great fairy tale that parents read their children, and it's often true. The tortoise sometimes wins. And one thing you gotta understand, people don't want to press the button over and over again, water the plant, roll the joint, click, click, click. But if it wasn't hard for you to do, then everyone would be doing it. That's what makes your labor, that's what makes it valuable. Your time has value, labor has value. And it's because there's a lot of clicks and things involved that you're creating value. Value creation comes from, production and doing things. It comes from effort. So there's some things you have to consider, right? One thing is, do you really need to be farming more quickly so you can grow faster? You can grow your plants faster on higher level plots. But how much is that worth, really? So even though you can grow plants faster on higher level plots, what you might find is that it's not as profitable in terms of your startup costs versus the buds that come out. So what I mean is an Asia plot, for example, has the highest buds output. Okay, and that's just fact. Highest buds output. But does it have the highest ratio, or does it have the best ratio of output to input costs? That's what matters. Having a high output saves you time. Profiting more requires having a good ratio of buds produced to cost of seeds and water put in. And actually that varies through all the land. Mexico has been very good at times for that. And it's just not even, right? So you can find that right now I'm finding South America has the best ratio, actually. Best ratio of the seeds are cheapest, to be specific. Cheapest seeds in Mexico. Or not Mexico, South America, sorry. Not Mexico, South America. I've been buying a bunch of them and farming en masse. So I've been actually getting a good efficiency rate. I've been very efficient, but time consuming. Unless you have just a whole bunch of plots and you've got things automated. So yeah, you really got to think about that. What is time anyway? You should also keep in mind that the higher level seeds have been running out faster than the lower level seeds. So that's the case right now. I am out of Asia, Jamaica, Africa, running out of Afghanistan and Mexico. I'm only actively selling South America seeds right now. So typically what that should mean is, if there's less than 5,000 plants growing, the next seed drop occurs. But I've been planting South America plots en masse to prevent that because I want to correct the seed imbalance. I'm trying to use up as many of these South America seeds because I think it's weird that we've run out of higher level ones and still have so many of the lower level ones. I'm trying to use up that supply. And that means that if you don't have South America right now, you're not farming at all. So sure, your Asia plot can maybe grow a plant in 2 days, but you don't have seeds. So what does that matter, right? It doesn't right now. The ones with South America are really benefiting at times like this when the seed distribution is not occurring. And a final thought I'm going to leave you all with. This is still young. The way these games work is by growth. That's the truth. That's how Axie works. That's how any play to earn game works. They have to keep drawing in new players to sustain themselves. And, in my view, that means it's good for them to grow at a specific pace. Axie has already gone rather exponential. So, that's one reason I'm less bullish on Axie. At this stage of the game, with a game like Axie, oh, that was a pun, sorry. Sorry. But anyway, you get the point. With Axie, it's already high enough that we're getting really demanding in terms of the number of players required to keep signing up. Because there's a limited number of human beings on the planet, right? And I haven't actually done the math to see if we've reached that unsustainable level yet. But it scares me to have to do that math. When things go exponential too quickly, it can be problematic unless the gameplay is very fun, right? Because ultimately, even if the profit's not doing so well, if the game is static and not growing, but not declining too quickly, if the game is fun, people will still play. And that's what gives a value to even a play to earn game. It has to be fun to keep drawing more players. So, ideally, Axie Infinity could keep thinking of new features. I'm not sure what more features they can or would think of at this point, but they have to justify such a high market cap. With HashKings, we're still in the small market cap range. We're far, far away from reaching any unsustainable point. This is the ground floor, really. I've been calculating because I look at market caps. I'm a Warren Buffett type investor. I look at the market cap, and if it's smaller than what I think that project is worth, I buy the token because I don't, just like a stock. It's a valuation estimate. So that's one reason I'm still super bullish on HashKings, and it has to keep growing. The gameplay is still nascent, but the development is still occurring. They recently launched on Phantom Network. I've been talking to, they're going to get, I don't know how many secrets I can spill, but more stuff is coming soon. Some that I can tell you is there's going to be raids and boss battles. The big one is bulk transactions. Super excited about that. And land rentals. I think that's going to be huge because that's where anyone can easily set up a scholarship program the way they're envisioned on Axie. You just put out your land and take a cut. And it'll also make my scholarship program, or for our fund, our accelerator, it'll make it free, no startup cost, which would be great. So, small market cap. Usually the danger with a small market cap is development might stop. The developers don't feel incentivized or whatever, but that's not the case here. It's small and development is continuing. And that's ultimately one of the best signs you can have. So even if you see your profit doesn't appear all that great, like what I made $2 today, $2 of a very young project. Okay, what was $2 of Axie Infinity? Like, imagine you had $2 worth of some Axie token years ago. You got to think like that. Think like people did with Bitcoin back in the day. Vitalik Buterin, he used to write articles for like $5 an article, paid in Bitcoin or Ether. Today he's a billionaire. Not all of that's from his writing articles, but when you get in on something that's growing, it can be more than it appears, right? So in my case, I wanted to invest in up and coming blockchain games. So I just wanted to do it as efficiently as possible. And, That's what the strategies I've been telling you today are all about. Investing efficiently, because ultimately that's what the gameplay of this game is, how to invest efficiently, how to market capitalize. It is a game of capitalism. And there have been games like that out there. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but it's probably because before they had real world value attached, players felt more need for active gameplay elements that weren't just a game all about the money in it, you know? I guess Second Life's an example, kind of. But I think you see the point. It's the ground floor, so that's why I've still been buying in, and pretty bullish, yeah. Questions? Know a lot of people are going to watch later. I'm going to share the slides. You can ask questions in Discord. For now, I'm just going to take a few questions from the audience that showed up just to answer some things live. So see if anyone's got questions. Eddie, anyone? I see like
From Aaron, asking how long has it been? I'm guessing he's asking how long has the game been around for?
It's been around for a couple years, but in like alpha mode, not in a form that you could actively play it very much. And oh, I just realized a couple things I forgot to show you, but I'll keep answering any questions while I show you these things. So I want to show you how I've been farming like 500 plots at a time, because that's pretty crazy, right? How I've been doing that. And also, let's see, what should I show you guys first? Sorry, any customer support when you run into problems? Customer support's mostly on Discord. They're pretty reactive on Discord. Yeah, go on Discord if there's any problems. There have been some, like a failed transaction. It just got fixed and refunded. It's not, you don't get customer support in Axie? I guess, I don't know, Axie's big? Maybe they got so big at some point that they couldn't deal with the level of customers needing support. But currently, if you go on Discord, you will get your questions answered for HashKings. I'm going to show you two windows. Email still waiting weeks, geez. I mean, to be honest, that can happen to any coin in a bull period, but it can also happen laziness. That's another thing about big market caps. I'm going to do another screen share now. Here. Are you seeing a HashKings map?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, so as you can see, their artist is not good at geography because you'll notice some irregularities, like England does not exist, or Iceland. Svalbard is huge. I think that's Svalbard. Also, the Philippines don't exist. Come on, they're big in Axie and Play to Earn. They should exist. We can also see there's a forest in Saudi Arabia. That's interesting. But, you know, it's stylized. Let's call it stylized. There's some cities, and this is the menu and the game. Click around, look at all your plots. I have no farms in Africa. Where do I have farms? Oh, I have plenty in South America. You can see some of my plants are growing. Beautiful plants. And over here is where you go to burn buds or stake MOTA. This is the store. Whoa, has this changed? No, not lately. See, eventually they should have it more MOTA centric and not Hive centric, right? If they want the in-game currency to be MOTA. There are a lot of things they're working on still. This is all still in beta, but it's functional. But yeah, there's also crafting. Craft joints here. You can see the EXP they give, the buds cost. Inventory. I can upgrade water here. I'll upgrade a water tower. Upgrade requirements. $1. Can you see the wallet pop up?
No.
Ah, that's a shame. So this is, the common wallet most people use is called Keychain. Similar to MetaMask, it's a browser add-on that has an API that's delivering block data for you. So that's how you can play browser games. Just like MetaMask has its own API delivering block data. Hive has its own similar kind of system. So I'm using that, even though you can't see it. And I'm paying the transaction. Shaggy is in the fields. You can see that, I think. And now it's refreshing. And it still might not register. Like I might have to refresh twice. Yeah, see, it's still not leveled up yet, but it will be soon. Watch. Better. Or I'll go complain. But there it is. I'm gonna upgrade it one more time. See, I was upgrading them en masse and one failed, right? I was using an automated bot to upgrade towers and it failed on one transaction. That's why 299 are upgraded and one didn't. I'm doing that one manually. There we go. Another upgrade. Now you see how that works. Now I'll show you the stats page. You can also see this on blockchaingaming.com on our HashKings page at the bottom. It might be loading more quickly here. So because we're streaming and stuff, I wanted to do it with as little internet resources as possible. So I'm using this window. So basically you can come here and you can check lots of stats, like how many buds are being burned. Mostly me right now, 300,000, some other guys burning 40,000. Who is staking MOTA?
We're close to you. And this is but burned today.
Yes.
Wow.
This is how much MOTA is staking. I have 43,775. Shout out to Foxon. He made the program I'm going to show you next. He's staking 5,000. This guy's trying to catch up. You can also see how many plants are planted, how many plots are occupied. If it's less than 5,000 at midnight UTC time, then the seed distribution will occur. In reality, if it ever falls below 5,000 right now, it probably won't, because I'm going to plant a bunch, as I'll show you. Which sucks for people with Asia seeds, because there's like no Asia or Jamaica seeds left. So only people with South America are actively farming right now. You see, it's the poor people are winning right now. The things you got to think about. So yeah, you can also see other stats, avatars, plants, water barons. Who produces the most water? No, this is who has the most water. And that would be Foxon. Geez, you guys are hoarding water straight up. He has over 2 million water.
Wow.
Wow.
Is he planning on doing another flood?
No, not at these prices. What I've got, here's daily water production. I'm leading the way by far.
Yeah.
Foxon's doing okay though. Not bad. So yeah, those are the stats. Now I'm going to share a final trick. Let's see. Okay, so first I need to share my screen generally. Screen share. So you should be seeing my whole screen. You should be seeing files. Do you see files?
Yep.
These files you download from GitHub, They're produced by Foxon. He's a very well-known and reputable member of the Hive community. That's why I actually delegated like a lot, like 120,000 Hive power to Foxon, which is, so when I delegate that to him, just a random fact, I keep the Hive power, or rather our hedge fund does. Our investors own that. But it's causing him to get more rewards because you need the Hive power to upvote things, right? Also to pay resource credits, but especially to upvote things. And upvoting things helps you earn more Hive. It's not the only way. There's also like an interest concept, and he's not getting that. But basically, he's getting more upvote power. But in the end of the day, our investors keep the money. But he is making a small amount of Hive from his upvoting efforts. Now, eventually, I might have to take the delegation back. But right now, he's being very, very helpful in managing our scholarship program and boosting the Hive, boosting the games in our accelerator in particular. So I'm going to keep delegating to him for as long as we're in the early growth stage we're in right now. Eventually, I have some other cool Hive plans, but I'm not going to talk about them on this particular podcast. I want to show you how these files work. So these are Python scripts. They can run directly in a command prompt, which means it's very simple. There's no GUI. This is pure code, pure logic. Doesn't connect, well, actually, and networking. It has to connect to a wallet. So it's not just pure logic, actually. There's networking going on, specifically through a wallet called Beam. And it has, so I had to provide it with my keys, actually, my private keys. I had to feed them into, forget which file they're in, but they're here, basically. So what I got to do is I got to copy this directory because I'm going to go to the command prompt. All right, so although there's networking and stuff, there's no GUI. So I go to command prompt, cd, change directory. Type in the directory those files are in. King Farmer main. All right, so that's the folder I wanted to be in, and that's the folder we're in. And here I can access some files that do some interesting things. Like first you type Python, main.py. This is what I've been using to farm en masse. Starting up, Wagonston, that's me. So you can see all my MOTA, staked and unstaked, all my buds, all my water. If I press 1, it will water all of my plants at once. If I press 2, it will harvest all harvestable plants. 3 will plant all empty plots. I don't feel like doing that right now, but I'll show you the forecast. 4. So this means no harvests today or tomorrow or the day after, but 4 days and 5 and 6, I got a bunch of plants that I'm going to have to water and harvest. I only have to water them before I harvest them, right? Doesn't matter. I don't have to do it immediately. They don't die of thirst. They just don't finish growing up until you water them. Time has to have elapsed and watering must have occurred. So here you can see. Now I'll show you another one. Python tower by .py. Now I'll show you it in action. So what did this do? This is a second script, not for farming, but for upgrading towers. Theoretically, he could have made a script to also roll joints and smoke them for you, but the developers complained that that would take away too much of the gameplay and that they wanted people to have to click the button for smoking joints because that's how you level up. They want there to be some element of labor to leveling up. So that, at least publicly, you can't find that script anywhere. But you can find tower by in this bundle. So I'm gonna click the level. I want to upgrade all my level 6 towers. Actually, wait a second. I may need to do one thing first. Hold on. Right, I don't have enough Hive. Okay, one step I forgot. I'm gonna take you all to Hive Engine. Another thing you're gonna learn is that Hive Engine functions like a sidechain. Yeah, that's how it can be somewhat decentralized. I think there might be some points at which it's like in its, I forget what part. I think in the verifying process, most side chains have trust, not most, but a lot of side chains have some trusted verifier. I think there are a couple for this as well, but otherwise it's mostly like a DEX. But operating on a side chain like system, which means I have to move Hive to it. You can't just trade Hive on here. Kind of like you can't, kind of like, how you got to use wrapped ether sometimes because ETH isn't an ERC20 token. Maybe some people have heard of that, but you can't trade Hive on here directly. You got to deposit and withdraw it. I have all mine on here already. So if I need them to upgrade towers, which I do, I have to withdraw them. I'll withdraw 3,000. What is that? It's like 1,500 bucks. So I'm actually doing a lot of money kind of right now. I'm about to do an expenditure. Might seem nerve-wracking, right? When you start to do higher amounts of money, it might feel like, uh-oh, what if it glitches? But eventually you just get used to it. And, I haven't experienced any problems yet. So we've just withdrawn 3,000 swap.hive. That's what it's called when it's on their platform. So now I have to wait a bit. Any questions meanwhile? This will take 1-2 minutes. Or we could just wait. Oh, there it is. It's here already. Okay, so now I should be able to do this. You can see the command prompt again, I hope. Someone yell at me if not. I'm going to type in 6. We want to upgrade our level 6 towers. Okay, so we're upgrading our level 6 towers. How many? I have 300. I want to upgrade all 300 towers. Bam. Cancel upgrade if price reaches. All right, so if the price fluctuates a lot, I might want to stop. I don't think it's going to fluctuate a lot today, but just in case, I don't know, I'll pick some 7. Now, don't look at my password. Oh, you can't, it doesn't show. Okay, good, perfect. And now, oh, there's an error. I think it's going to error more often because we're using internet bandwidth. But see it say upgrading? Each time one of those upgrading water tower number 4 price comes up, one of my towers just got upgraded. The speed at which those messages are arriving is the speed at which these towers are upgrading.
Okay, so now that the water towers are upgrading one at a time until we hit 300, we can probably do more Q&A because I just noticed that Aaron has a question on how much does one get started?
12 Hive. Exactly 12 Hive.
And
The
how much
reason
each Hive for USD right now?
it's less than $6. So the reason it's currently 12 Hive to start is because we currently have a scholarship program providing free seeds and free water, but you have to get land somehow. I've been selling starter packs for 12 Hive, which is honestly pretty under market value for real, like especially when you combine it with I lost my train of thought. When you combine it with the avatar, we include an avatar with we give you 2 South America plots and an avatar. And South America is never going to be less than 5 Hive again. So you're always getting a deal, and it's a good deal. But in the future, when land rental functionality comes out, the startup costs will be much reduced. You'll just need enough to, if you're in the scholarship program, you won't have anything. I'll give you free land, and I'll give you free water and a free seed to start with. There will be 0 startup cost. But if you're playing on your own, then at that point, the startup cost will be, the rent for the first growth period, the first seed, and the amount of water needed to water that first seed. And from there, you start growing, and expanding, farming more at once, buy your own land. And I'm not sure exactly how raids will work yet, but I'm hoping that will be tied in somehow. I'm kind of curious.
Okay, so for a beginner who is able to get like one plot of land and seed from you, like how long does it take for them to go from seed to bud, and how many buds do they get upon harvest from that one plot of land?
Well, since I'm giving you free seeds and water, you can grow pretty quickly if you're a scholar. Scholars just have to give us retweets, likes, whatever, come to class or watch the YouTube video afterwards, like it, whatever. And since I give you the free seeds and water, you get pure profit, right? All the buds are yours to reinvest. So
So
our scholar,
how many buds like per plot of land?
it depends on the tier. South America plots like 600 to 800 buds can be
Okay,
produced.
yeah.
I forget off the top of my head. Mexico's getting up there around 1,000. Afghanistan is where we get into the lower thousands, and Asia's a lot, thousands, several thousands for Asia. In terms of time consumed, though, this is what you call an idle game, right? There's an update once a day, and all you got to do is check periodically, when it updates and your plants have grown, and check periodically to check for market inefficiencies on which to capitalize. So really, that doesn't take up a lot of time. I think some people just, play throughout the day, check when they get up in the morning, and then don't check again for a while. It varies. Sometimes I don't check as often as other times. Although I've been doing market making lately, so I check often. I've been keeping up with the volume for everyone. But really, you could get away with checking once per day. It could be half an hour a day. Depends how deeply you think about it and how quickly you process your thoughts on what strategy to use. But the plants itself take anywhere from 2 to 7 days to grow. Higher tier, faster growth. Eventually, there will be boosters. Boosters that can speed up plant growth. And, that's an interesting factor. I hadn't included in my slides how that might affect the profit equation. But I think it could. For example, typically you might not want to buy a booster, right? Because anything you buy is costs, and that lowers your profit, right? It decreases the time, but also decreases the profit because you had to spend money on the booster. But right now, we're in a situation where there's almost no high-level seeds on the market. I'm only farming South America, and there's way too many South America seeds on the market, and I can't grow them fast enough to get rid of them all. And because seeds are undervalued for South America, I probably would use a booster for South America plots right now. Then my South America plants would grow faster and I could harvest them all. And because I have so many of that seed and they're kind of cheap on the market, I think it would be worth it to me to do that. Lowering the time would be worth the slight increase in cost. I'm not sure how boosters will work exactly and how much time will be decreased. And if it will be like a fixed amount, like a day or like a fraction, like a half of the total. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think that will be an interesting factor in the future, the boosters. So, I mean, we've gone pretty in depth. You can see my, let's see if this has been working real quick. I'm in the HashKings. Hopefully you can see HashKings now. I've brought up the game window.
I found a Medium article with a couple tables on different seeds and how many days does it take to turn to buds.
There are lots of tables that are very detailed. They're all pinned messages on their Discord. So here you can see my towers have been upgrading successfully. You can't watch them. I have to refresh to see more of them switch from level 6 to level 7. So you can see in the short time we've been talking, at least 90 towers upgraded. That would have been 90 button presses and 180 page refreshes. That would not have been fun. Oh, Eddie's shared something. Oh, they're on Publish OX. That's good. I guess they're getting more.
Actually, like these tables that they have.
Well, at one point, I had pushed HashKings to the top of the volume chart on Hive Engine. Splinterlands has since reclaimed its title as #1 on Hive. But briefly, I had HashKings through my market making was sudden and explosive. And I think a lot of people noticed when that occurred. And now we're just waiting for all these development features to finish. And then I think we're going to see another awesome wave of interest, especially with land rental. Because, you know, I've seen some people disappointed in the scholarship program when they hear it costs 12 Hive. They expect a pure free situation. And they're going to get that when rentals are out, land rental. So I'm excited for that. Any other questions about HashKings or just Hive in general?
Oh, here's a question. Yeah, I noticed that when you that for every water tower you upgrade, you're spending about $1 worth of Hive. The question is, where does that money go? Like, is it going to the developers?
Yes. That is pretty much their only revenue source, actually. Not bad. And it's a finite revenue source because there's a finite number of towers. In my opinion, it's not greedy at all. How much money have I made them? I don't know. I guess I've contributed a lot with my upgrades, but I'm an extreme case. Most people are contributing almost nothing, no payments to the developers. So how many towers are you going to upgrade? Probably nowhere, probably not 1,400 like I am, right? But let me show you something. Remember, I've been telling you to spot the market inefficiencies, okay? So you should look down to the water tower section. You could see it costs $1 to upgrade a water tower, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Level 2, 14 Hive. 20 Hive for level 3. You might notice that increase is more than $1.
Yeah.
So a theoretical way of profiting: buy, upgrade, sell. Oh, I've recently manipulated. I recently bought 300 at once, so the prices are a bit out of whack. But you can see as it goes up to 25, 53, 74. When there were max level towers, I saw them going for around 100 Hive. So I could buy a level 1, upgrade $8, upgrade 8 times for $8. So I'd spend $8. That's at most 24 Hive at most right now. So then I would get what, 14.4 plus 24, it's 38.4 Hive. I could turn around and sell it for 100.
Wow.
So that's why you want to be a higher level. You have to be a higher level to upgrade water towers to higher levels. But it's not trivial, right? You need joints, which cost money if you're not farming them yourself. So there's all kinds of hidden, and these are mine are producing water constantly. So I don't have any for sale. I've just been selling. I should put a couple, maybe. But I've just been letting demand work itself out for now.
Oh,
Where I'm not selling much of anything yet, to be honest. Which is good for you guys, because I have a lot of MOTA and a lot of
yeah.
except water. I've been dumping water because I want to get more people farming. Cheap water helps you farm. And yeah, I think I'm running out finally of tricks to show you guys. You can see all the seeds for sale here. Remember, don't go here. I don't know why people are paying way more in Hive for seeds than I was selling them for in buds, much cheaper. You can choose your currency.
Where are the buds?
You can filter
Uh,
swap Hive, MOTA, buds.
but okay, how much are they? Cost 190.
115 buds. Actually, no, the price has gotten fixed, but for a while there, it was really out of whack, where it was much cheaper to buy in buds. I've already sold off all my seeds for buds. Maybe people are reselling them for Hive, which again, another profit thing to do. If you think I'm selling my seeds too cheap because I have so many of them, maybe buy them off me first before a real farmer gets them. Sounds like a mean thing to do when I say it that way, but it's market imbalances. That's the story of this game and how to win it. That's pretty much it. Unless you guys can think of more questions. If not, I'm just gonna wrap it up. Get ready to put this on YouTube. We've been going for a while, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna share the slides. And I'm going to remember, guys, even if you couldn't make it to class, you can still get your scholarship points by watching on YouTube and correctly answering 1 or 2 short questions to prove that you paid attention. They won't be hard, just to prove you paid attention. Then you'll get points. Just for those who don't know, scholarship points are what we use to keep you in the scholarship program when I run out of NFTs to lend out. I've pretty much run out of pizza and Rising Star, so that's happening after this class. Whomever people have the least scholarship points are going to start getting expelled from our school. So yeah, if you couldn't make it to class, do your work from home like a good student. And yeah, I'll see you guys on Discord.